He's 12 in a hoodie, head down in the back row seat. Teacher says he's difficult, he just learned not to trust what they preach. They said, speak up, we'll protect you. Then shrugged, called it a mistake. Signed some papers, shook a hand, sent a monster home through the gate. Kids deserve better than broken excuses. Too late, too hard from the ones in control. You're caged to survive, let the predator wander, then blame the anger burning in their soul. Kids are our future, not casualties of comfort. Justice isn't tickets and gentle little risks, but the danger in prison, not back in the playground. Stop giving their trauma a slap on the wrist. She's 15, she's hurting, but they label her out of line. Why you hate authority? Maybe cause it failed her every time. They call it treatment of rims, but they never change the end. He signs up, plays the system, walks out free. She breaks again. Kids deserve better than broken excuses. Too late, too hard from the ones in control. You cage to survive, but let the predator wander, then blame the anger burning in their soul. Kids are our future, not casualties of comfort. Justice isn't tickets and gentle little risks, but the danger in prison, not back in their playground. Stop giving their trauma a slap on the wrist. How many times do you stare at their faces and turn away? How many lives get written off as damage you can't save? They're not the problem, they're the proof of what you missed. You wanna heal their hearts, start with a real consequence. Kids deserve better than broken excuses. Too late, too hard from the ones in control. You cage to survive, but let the predator wander, then blame the anger burning in their soul. Kids are our future, not casualties of comfort. Justice means safety that finally exists, but the danger in prison, far from their tomorrow. Stop giving their trauma a slap on the wrist.
Just when you thought you could turn your back and walk away, the dark cloud of human indignity follows you. You have no choice but to turn and look it in the eye. It's the sex offender hit list.
One for a rainbow, one for Amanda.
Who you playing with, sweetie?
Amanda.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Amanda. I'm 6, and I love unicorns.
Sexual predators are seeking kids online.
We don't know Amanda.
Learn how to report abuse at end-violence.org/protect.
registered sex offender in Lake Charles is behind bars, facing a number of felony accounts. Good afternoon, I'm Anissa Carby. New information was just released by the Louisiana Attorney General's office. Officials say 49-year-old Sean Alexander Meeks was arrested Wednesday. Agents with Attorney General Liz Morrell's Louisiana Bureau of Investigation say Meeks faces numerous felony charges. These include 15 counts of distribution of child sexual abuse material under the age of 13. He also faces 5 counts of sexual abuse of an animal. The arrest came after a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Meeks is currently in the Calcasieu Parish Jail on a $350,000 bond. The investigation is ongoing.
Turning to New Mexico, a grand jury indicted actor-director Timothy Busfield on child sex abuse charges. The development comes less than a month after he was arrested. The 68-year-old is accused of inappropriately touching twin boys who appeared on a TV series that he directed and acted in, and those charges are for one of the boys' claims. Busfield denies any wrongdoing. He claims the parents are trying to get back at him after the children were cut from the show.
An Alma woman charged for the sexual assault of a teenager. 48-year-old Christina Whiteman is accused of sexually assaulting a 15-year-old in Prudenville in Roscommon County in March of 2023. She's charged with 2 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct. Bond was set at $50,000.
An update tonight on a controversial home set to house level 3 sex offenders in Kennewick.
Yeah, neighbors near 8th Avenue and Edison say new drone video shows just how close that home is to children and families. From the ground, it's hard to see the full picture, but from the air, neighbors say the concerns become impossible to ignore. Drone video shot by a nearby resident shows a bird's-eye view of the neighborhood surrounding the home planned for level 3 and higher sex offenders, including nearby homes, playgrounds, pools, and busy streets.
These nasty, sick individuals, in my opinion, have discovered, a way to profit off of this.
Isaac Romero says he recorded the footage to show just how visible nearby homes and yards are from the property and how little separation exists.
And that's the thing, is getting that bird's eye view, seeing up from the top, and, we go into, being able to just see from their, porch area. But from a bird's eye view, you can see the busy road of Edison and the traffic that goes through here. You can see the church right off to the side. And then you see these beautiful homes that have, big acre lots.
Romero tells me that lack of fencing and visibility raises serious safety concerns, especially in an area he says is heavily trafficked by children and seniors. The property manager did tell us that he is planning on adding fencing to the property, but according to Joe Field, it's unclear what that will look like.
We just want people to see, why we are, so angry about this, because this is designed for families, not for these individuals. These individuals should have a special place, and it's not here.
Romero also worries neighbors could be left paying the price financially and emotionally for decisions made at the state level.
Read the stories on these sexually violent predators. Okay, and read the definition and understand the difference between the levels. There's clear definition, okay, and there's huge difference.
Neighbors are scheduled to protest outside the home once again this weekend. They welcome anyone to come with signs in hand from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. That's tomorrow on Saturday.
To another really distressing story now, and this man, John Rubin, has been jailed for sexually abusing young boys after lacing sweets with tranquilizing drugs at summer camps. The 76-year-old had been trusted to care for vulnerable children, but the court heard how he hid his guilt behind a cloak of Christianity. Our reporter Catherine Nash reports from Leicester Crown Court.
Got any other electronic devices?
No.
At the camp?
Your laptop's there.
Your laptop's there.
This is the moment John Rubin, a former vet and church leader, was arrested by police last summer. He was questioned after a number of boys and an adult woke up feeling sick, dizzy and unable to walk while staying here at Strathern Lodge, at a Christian summer camp he was running for vulnerable children in July. It later emerged that the boys in his care had been drugged by him and sexually assaulted. Many of the details of this case have been extremely difficult to hear. The court was told how John Rubin had a significant sexual interest in small boys and how, I quote, used the cloak of Christianity to set up a charity which put him in direct contact with children, abusing their trust in the most terrible way. The court was told how his offences involved careful planning and significant preparation. He used his veterinary knowledge to make small incisions to inject sweets with liquid Xanax, a sedative he brought off the internet, and then played a sweetie game with groups of boys before bedtime with the intention of abusing them whilst they slept.
Them talking about playing the sweetie game, and it was the children that were talking about playing this game that were showing signs of sedation and being drugged. They were not waking up in the normal way in the next morning, and I guess most importantly, they were unable to recall anything the previous evening and the previous night.
Have you given any children anything?
Can't comment on that.
Okay. If you have, what is it that you've given them?
I can't comment on that.
Rubin was interviewed by police on a number of occasions, but despite his no comments, he later pleaded guilty, and this week even admitted to drugging his wife to make sure his crimes went undetected. Today, as the 76-year-old was sentenced to 31 years and 8 months, the young victims and their families spoke of the nightmare he's left behind.
He took away our children's right to be children, to feel safe and protected. He has caused the most heartbreaking emotional and psychological damage, and our children continue to suffer every day because of what he did.
While those involved try to come to terms with what happened, police believe there could be more victims out there. John Rubin was involved in running camps for more than 25 years, a once trusted member of the community, now serving time behind bars.
Tonight, police in Galveston say the man accused of kidnapping a little girl and taking her to a hotel is facing new charges.
Graham Dunn was already accused of multiple crimes from North Carolina to North Texas, and records show he was repeatedly allowed to bond out of jail despite documented violations.
ABC 13's Luke Jones looks at the troubling timeline and why he wasn't locked up before police say that little girl was attacked.
At the time of his arrest Friday night on an aggravated kidnapping charge, Graham Dunn was already a wanted man, an active warrant in Dallas County, probation violations, and 3 pending cases in North Carolina. Records show he agreed to 18 months probation in May 2025 as part of a deferred adjudication agreement in a 2023 family violence case out of Farmers Branch, Texas. He's accused of forcing his girlfriend to the ground and squeezing her neck and throat. Right here in his probation conditions, an order to stay in North Carolina, where records show he has family.
You're not entitled to it.
Joe Venus is a criminal defense attorney not affiliated with any of Dunn's cases.
It's usually the opposite, where they say you need to stay here so I can monitor you. But when someone's on probation, they can transfer.
Another condition of Dunn's probation: don't commit any crimes. Yet charging documents show just 10 days after he was put on probation in Dallas, he was issued a criminal summons for false imprisonment in Wilmington, North Carolina. 3 months later, he was arrested again in North Carolina for secret peeping. And just days after that, Dunn was arrested again on sexual battery and assault charges, but was able to post an $11,000 bond. All 3 arrests in North Carolina, seemingly violations of his probation and his deferred adjudication agreement. In October, Dallas County prosecutors filed a motion to revoke his probation and convict him of the 2023 assault charge. Records show an arrest warrant was served in November. Yet once back in Dallas, he was allowed to post a $2,500 bond on the probation violation. How does a pattern of violating probation not disqualify you from getting a bond?
Well, so there's 2 different types of probation in Texas. There's what we call the straight probation, and then there's deferred adjudication. If someone's on deferred adjudication, under the law, they are entitled to a bond.
But then, on January 21st, Dunn's arrested by SMU police for evading arrest, which prosecutors claim violated his previous bond conditions. Days later, a new warrant issued for Dunn's arrest, Yet police wouldn't catch up with him until Friday in Galveston, when he's accused of kidnapping a 12-year-old girl and driving her to the Galveston Beach Hotel. It's here, investigators say, the victim told them Dunn gave her pills and touched her sexually, recording some of the crimes on his phone. At his bond hearing, Dunn downplaying his previous charges.
All those charges were misdemeanor charges prior to this charge. I've never had a felony charge on my record. Will that make...
You got one now, and it's your share this morning, okay?
And prosecutors in North Carolina today used Dunn's words against him in arguing that he wasn't taking any of his cases there seriously. They're trying to raise his bond to $250,000. Meanwhile, he's being held in Galveston County on a $500,000 bond. Now, we have been in touch with Dallas County prosecutors trying to get some answers about why he was released after his arrest last month. So far, we haven't heard back from them. Reporting live tonight, Luke Jones, ABC 13. Eyewitness News.
All right, Luke, and Galveston PD is expected to go on camera for the first time about this case tomorrow. We'll stay on top of that and all of they have to say. Thanks a lot, Luke.
A former correctional officer charged with child sex assault could soon face more criminal charges. Only on Fox 6, Waukesha County reporter Brett Lemoyne shows us the arrest just steps outside of the courtroom.
Arrested again. Moments after leaving court Friday morning, 32-year-old Cody Hudek went back to jail. Fox 6 captured video of his arrest in the hallway. Waukesha police would only say that there was, quote, evidence of other crimes that he committed. As of late Friday afternoon, no additional criminal charges had been filed.
Where did victim A say the assault occurred?
She indicated that the assaults were all occurred at 2001 Southwest Avenue inside of the security business.
A detective took the stand Friday during Hudek's preliminary hearing. Prosecutors say Hudek sexually assaulted a girl in 2024. At the time, investigators say the victim was between 10 and 11 years old.
How many distinct events did victim A describe during that interview?
3.
Did each event occur at that same location?
Yes.
Hudek, who goes by the nickname Stumpy because of a leg amputation, owns both this pawn shop and Stumpy Securities Agency. In August of 2022, Hudek also worked as a Waukesha County correctional officer. Hudek was taken to the Walworth County Jail in January after prosecutors charged him with 3 felony counts of first-degree child sexual assault. He posted a $75,000 cash bond and appeared in court Friday out of custody.
I am finding that the state has met its burden of proof.
That is, until he left. In Waukesha, Brett Lemoyne, Fox 6 News.
Hudek's defense attorney previously told Fox 6 News his client denies the child sex assault allegations. He did not respond to our request for comment about Friday's arrest.
Convicted sex offender Austin Lee Fields of Valley City, North Dakota, has been charged again. According to court documents, on February 2nd, he allegedly sexually abused a girl under 10 with his hand. He's been charged with a Class AA felony of gross sexual imposition. That charge carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. His previous convictions include having sex with an intoxicated 16-year-old girl in 2003 and in 2009, the sexual abuse of a minor female. I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNews.tv.
State police have arrested and charged a 26-year-old Saginaw man for child porn. State police say they started investigating Luke Young when they discovered he was sharing photos online. He turned himself in after digital evidence was taken from his home. According to the Michigan Department of Corrections, Young has worked for them since 2021 and most recently worked in St. Louis at the Central Michigan Correctional Facility. Young is charged with 2 counts of aggravated possession of child sexually abusive material and 2 counts of using a computer to commit a crime.
Former preschool teacher in Beaufort County has either been investigated for or charged with child sex crimes in 3 states. The Low Country School where Brandon Baker worked says they did all the proper background checks, but new state reports obtained by WSCV's Danielle Cobb may say otherwise.
Baker was taken into custody from Sea Island Sprouts Preschool, where we learned he worked with young children. The school says they conducted all proper background checks upon hiring, but state reports obtained by WSAV may tell a different story.
I don't know whether he was required to be fingerprinted, but that
to me, is the gold standard, because that will get you a record if there's a history out there.
After Baker's arrest in Beaufort County, another case, this time in federal court, was filed. He is now facing federal sexual exploitation of a child charges in Iowa. According to court documents, Baker possessed several nude images of a young boy in handcuffs, which were taken in November of 2013. But it didn't stop with the picture. Investigators say the victim confirmed in an interview that he and Baker had a regular sexual relationship. Baker was also named in a child pornography investigation out of Colorado, where authorities state he was serving as a preschool teacher. He was released after questioning, and the investigation is said to still be open as of 2024. While the Port Royal Preschool told WSAV that they conducted all proper checks when they hired him, Department of Social Services inspection reports from September show the school had not completed FBI or SLED background checks on 3 employees. They also had 1 employee who had not received sex offender registry checks. DSS did say the background checks were resolved in October, and we don't know how long Baker was at the school or when he was hired. But attorney Jared Newman says registry checks should flag open investigations and prior arrests in the system.
If DSS does an investigation, they can find probable cause that abuse or neglect happened, even though the law enforcement might not have enough evidence to go forward. Then your name is put in the registry. And there is a mechanism under due process. You can have a hearing as to that, and the government has to prove that you need to be in the registry.
Now I asked the school if the owner or administrator wanted to speak with WSAV about the DSS reports from last year. They told me they would not participate in interviews, nor would they be discussing any past reports or internal processes. The school did confirm that they are still open and operating. Danielle Cobb, WSAV News 3, on your side.
In the courts tonight, a sentence was handed down today for an Eau Claire man charged with repeatedly sexually assaulting a child in Chippewa County. The charge was filed in 2023 against Spartacus Brushuk. As we reported then, the victim told police the assault started when she was between the ages of 5 and 7 and lasted until she was 13. She told police about a time when she was in elementary school that Brushuk made her take a pregnancy test. Last September, he was found guilty of 2 counts of third-degree sexual assault and causing mental harm to a child as part of a plea deal. Today, he was sentenced to 5 years of initial confinement, followed by 4 years of extended supervision. He will also need to register as a sex offender.
A former Nampa school district teacher is under arrest in Las Vegas on child sex crime charges. 48-year-old Brian Conway faces charges including using a minor to produce pornography and luring a child online. The Nampa School District says Conway left his position last school year for unrelated reasons. Las Vegas police believe there may be more victims, though, and they're asking anyone with information to come forward.
Former dean of students at Sun Prairie West High School is pleading guilty in federal court to producing child sexual abuse material today. Robert Gilkey Messigeyer faces a minimum 15 years in prison, maximum of 30 years, as well as tens of thousands of dollars in fines. As part of his plea, Gilkey Messigeyer admitted to messaging a female student and asking for and receiving naked and sexually suggestive photos and videos. He also has a case in Dane County Court where he's charged with 13 counts of possession of child sexual abuse materials and 2 counts of child sexual exploitation. Sentencing in this case for the federal one is scheduled for April 28th.
Predator sentenced a one-time substitute teacher who tried meeting with teens for sex learned his punishment today. Thank you for joining us for Action News Live at 6. Good evening. I'm Margot Kim.
And I'm Warren Armstrong. Police arrested Carlos Gonzalez last year after catching him through 2 different investigations. Deputies say he worked with children as young as elementary school in the Fresno Unified System.
Action News reporter Gabe Ferris joins us from the live desk tonight. He was in the courtroom today and brings us the new details just released. Gabe?
Well, Margot and Warren, this case will not go to trial, so much of the evidence here is sealed, but we still learn today about some of the messages, what the teacher said about teens, and we do want to warn you tonight, it is disturbing. So you must file a written notice of With his hands behind his back, a child predator now heading to prison. Carlos Gonzalez there sentenced to 3 years.
He deserves every single day of those 3 years.
Gonzalez, whom we cannot show, is a former substitute teacher. Prosecutors say he preyed on minors using the messaging app Kik to meet with teens for sex.
These were 2 separate undercovers that the defendant was chatting with at identical times.
We've learned in one of the messages to police, Gonzalez equated young girls to cars with low mileage.
Others are too graphic for Action News to report, even the court commissioner saying the case is disturbing.
When a child goes off to school, that school teacher then becomes the parent.
Action News legal analyst Tony Capozzi highlighted Gonzalez's proximity and access to children.
It's so important that the trust is there, and when that's violated, it's a much more egregious crime.
In all, Gonzalez faced 9 charges. He pleaded no contest to 3, 2 of them for arranging and meeting with children, and 1 for distributing porn.
He was like, I knew better. I knew this was wrong. Why did I do this?
His attorney saying Gonzalez takes full responsibility and has sought help.
He wanted to understand and correct the behavior that gave rise to this. So I immediately referred him over to Dr. Zavala.
The court commissioner unmoved, denying probation and saying Gonzalez must go to prison, urging him to continue treatment there.
Defendants who are charged and have pled guilty to some kind of sexual abuse with children are treated pretty badly by the other inmates. So I'd be very curious to see how this treatment is going to be administered in the prison system.
And the former teacher appeared to have the full support of his family today. They prayed before entering the courtroom. He did not speak or personally apologize during the hearing. At the live desk tonight, I'm Gabe Ferris, ABC 30 Action News.
A 63-year-old man, formerly of Prescott, has been found guilty of sexually assaulting a young girl. A jury in southern Michigan's Hillsdale County convicted James Carter on 4 counts of first-degree criminal sexual conduct, a potential life sentence offense, and 1 count of accosting a child for immoral purposes. According to the state attorney general, Carter sexually assaulted the girl in 2008. He was initially charged by the Hillsdale County prosecutor in 2011, but was living in Georgia. U.S. Marshals found Carter and extradited him to Michigan last March. His sentencing is scheduled for March 19th.
Tracking crime in Giles County, a former daycare worker pleads guilty to nearly 200 charges of child abuse. News 2 has been following this case since last April when Erica Coleman was first arrested for simple assault. The investigation that followed led to several charges of child abuse.
Tonight, several parents in Pulaski are calling for tougher laws to protect their kids. News 2's Lexi Wilson spoke to the parents who say their kids were victims. It was March 2025 when parents in Pulaski got a call they never expected. News that their child was abused here at Kid City, USA.
Constantly crying in the mornings. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school.
All this has given her so much anxiety. It set her back. She has trust issues.
Now, the woman behind the abuse, Erica Coleman, will spend 12 years in prison after pleading guilty to nearly 200 charges. Those charges filed after investigators combed through surveillance video. According to prosecutors, the video showed Coleman slapping, pushing, kicking kids' chairs, screaming in kids' faces, threatening violence in one incident where a child was picked up by their throat.
I think 12 years is light. Basically, she stole these kids' childhood, and they're still going to be kids when she gets out.
In a Facebook post, District Attorney Brent Cooper said in part, "My prayer is that the victims, due to their youth and resilience, will grow up never remembering that Erica Coleman ever existed. I also hope that Miss Coleman confronts whatever demons she has that led to this behavior."
I really hope she realizes what she did was not okay and how bad she has traumatized these children. This is traumatic. It's something they will remember.
While parents say they're relieved she's behind bars, many believe stronger oversight and harsher penalties are needed to prevent abuse like this from happening again.
There are 4 other teachers involved that failed to report. Those charges are misdemeanors. Maybe if something was in place, it could prevent abuse like this.
Reporting in Pulaski, Lexi Wilson, News 2.
New this morning, Manio police say a soldier from Fort Bragg is facing several child exploitation charges. Investigators say 22-year-old Aiden Burovich tried to initiate sexual contact with a child and made plans to meet that child at a local hotel. With the help from the Army and the FBI, the suspect was arrested at Fort Bragg. Police say several electronic devices were taken as evidence, and there may be more charges added. He's currently being held at the Dare County Detention Center.
New at 6, a Jefferson County jury has found 40-year-old Lionel Dominguez not guilty of continuous sexual abuse of a child. Dominguez faced allegations involving multiple acts of abuse between 2017 and 2021, but jurors rejected the charge after a trial that began earlier this week. He had been held in the Jefferson County Jail for nearly 3 years. A conviction would have carried a minimum sentence of 25 years in prison without parole.
Welcome back in here. And new on Sunrise, the former chief financial officer of Old National Bank has been found not guilty in his child molesting trial. Court records for Brendan Falconer, show a jury found him not guilty on both counts Thursday. He was first charged in the case in 2024 after allegations came forward from 2014 and 2016. In his arrest affidavit, Falconer partially admitted to the accusations and then went on to say it wasn't him.
The man will spend the rest of his life in jail for sexually abusing a young child. Sergio Caballero Rapala was sentenced to 104 years behind bars after being found guilty of 6 child sex crimes. Prosecutors say the child involved is younger than 12, and the abuse happened over the course of a year.
The investigation into Cameron White continues to grow after he was arrested for allegedly abusing children in his former role at the Trinity Church Child Development Center. White was arrested on January 22nd, and the allegations have been building in the days since. In just 2 weeks of investigations, Huntsville police have charged White with 8 counts of child sexual abuse. And the 3 newest charges indicate investigators could be looking as far back as 2021. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo shows us how this investigation is unfolding.
The investigations into alleged child abuse at the Trinity Child Development Center have catapulted in recent weeks. The Huntsville Police Department says the official investigation began on January 21st, with HPD arresting White a day later. Since then, police have added 7 more counts of child sexual abuse, totaling a bond of $400,000. And it's all happened in a matter of just over 2 weeks, whereas typical investigations could take a matter of months or years.
It has escalated fairly quickly here in the last few weeks, adding additional charges. They're still looking at video, is my understanding. They're still considering the forensic interviews. But this is still a long process after they review all the evidence. This may go on a few years before there's a trial date.
Local law enforcement experts say it could mean police have a large amount of evidence to support the claims as even more victims come forward. And it's not just interviews with the victims. Former investigators and attorneys on the case say they've reviewed physical evidence like medical examinations and footage allegedly showing White making inappropriate contact with the victims. According to a former police investigator who currently works with the Alabama network of child advocacy centers, the investigations involve multiple levels of corroboration.
Typically, you've got evidence that supports the claim. And if you've got more than one victim, that presents a stronger case. In a lot of cases, especially if it's similar outcry. So you've got 3 or 4 different, in this case, children saying basically the same thing independently of each other. That kind of strengthens the information that you're receiving.
The Huntsville Police Department said the charges filed in recent weeks don't end any ongoing investigations. They said they can confirm the charges filed so far are based on reviewed evidence, like forensic interviews and church surveillance footage. In Huntsville, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
According to HPD, the investigation has involved a coordinated effort among the Special Victims Unit, the Children's Advocacy Center, the Department of Human Resources, and the Madison County District Attorney's Office. And we still don't know if we've seen the last of the charges against White.
Meanwhile, authorities have made an arrest after an investigation into a sexual abuse case, this case in Woodbury County. Court documents say 28-year-old Patrick Loft of Galva, Iowa is accused of sexually abusing a minor in Danbury, Iowa, November 30th, 2025. Investigators say the mother of the minor discovered Loft's alleged abuse. He was booked into the Woodbury County Jail after his arrest Wednesday. Now he'll be back in court for a preliminary hearing on January 20th.
20 life sentences. And in Lake City, police arrested 21-year-old Juan Cruz Hernandez for interacting with an undercover detective he believed was an underage girl online. Officials say he arranged to meet with the teenager in person and then was taken into custody shortly after. Detectives say they are looking into if Cruz Hernandez may have committed similar offenses outside of Lake City.
Investigators discovered child pornography at a home in Tullahoma. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to News 2 Now at 10. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. News 2's Kelly Milan learns more about the man facing some serious charges tonight and what investigators say led to his arrest. We do have a warning. This story contains information that may be disturbing to some. Kelly.
Bob and Haley, this case starts with a search warrant and ends with a felony arrest. But as investigators lay out what they say they found inside his home, questions are also emerging about the man accused and his role in the community. According to court records, Marvin Carson was arrested February 5th in Coffee County. The arrest warrant states deputies executed a search warrant at Carson's Tullahoma residence, seizing multiple electronic devices. During that search, investigators say they discovered numerous digital images containing graphic sexual content involving a minor, including images allegedly depicting sexual activity with an adolescent child. The warrant further states that after being advised of his rights, Carson admitted to purchasing or paying for the images. Carson is charged with aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, a felony under Tennessee law. News 2 has learned Carson is known locally as a chiropractor and is associated with a practice clinic bearing his name. News 2 is also reviewing information that he previously coached youth soccer in Coffee County. February 5th, his first court appearance is scheduled for February 9th. Bond has not been set, but expected to be determined by a judge in his next court appearance. The Coffee County Sheriff's Department confirms Carson remains in custody as the case moves forward. Back to you.
A man is in jail charged with sexually abusing a child tonight. 34-year-old Ronald Story Jr. accused of sexual abuse of a child under the age of 12. Police say the alleged incident happened Monday night. Story is being held at the Montgomery County Jail. The investigation is ongoing.
A Potter County man is sentenced to 2 life sentences for sexually assaulting a child.
A press release reports that Anthony Johnson II was convicted on 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child. The alleged incidents happened in 2018.
A Montgomery County man has been sentenced to 8 years in prison after pleading guilty to child pornography charges. Court records show that Harley Peterson pled guilty to 10 counts of pandering obscenity involving a minor. Dayton police were alerted to Peterson in October by the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. He had prior convictions out of Texas. He will be designated as a Tier 2 sex offender.
Marion County man will serve 20 life sentences for nearly 24 child porn possession charges. Court records show 45-year-old Michael McMasters was sentenced on Wednesday after a jury found him guilty in December. Sheriff's deputies arrested him in early 2024 after finding the uploaded inappropriate material. Again at 20.
A Sioux City man faces at least 15 years in federal prison after admitting to sexually exploiting a minor. 24-year-old Jorge Monteroy entered that plea in U.S. District Court in Sioux City, admitting that he provided alcohol to the minor girl and sexually exploited her. The U.S. Attorney's Office says further evidence showed that he received, possessed, and distributed child pornography. He faces a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years in prison and a maximum of 30 years. He could also be fined $250,000. A date for his sentencing has not yet been set.
A Pasadena fire captain is out on bond after being arrested for alleged child sexual abuse crimes. Police say Christopher Ramstead was taken into custody Wednesday while he was off duty. Investigators have not released further details, only that he is accused of continuous sexual abuse against a child. The 47-year-old was released on a $550,000 bond. The city of Pasadena says the alleged incident occurred outside the scope of Ramstead's official duties. The fire captain has been put on administrative leave while the investigation takes place.
Plantation teacher behind bars accused of taking advantage of a former student. The father of the would-be victim speaking with Local 10 about the arrest. Local 10's Terrell Fournay live in Plantation with more on the charges. Terrell.
Feels a sense of betrayal, primarily because that teacher who is now in jail once taught his daughter and son here at South Plantation Senior High.
Leave your hands behind your back.
Yep. Those commands are from body-worn cameras as deputies in Seminole County placed a teacher into custody. The Thursday night takedown was all tied to a warrant out of Broward County. The details unveiled in court Friday as Colby Erskine faced a judge in Central Florida. The 39-year-old, who was last assigned to Mount Dora High School in that area as a football coach, is now facing a slew of serious charges, including solicitation of a child and transmission of harmful materials to a minor.
It hurts because you know there are monsters out there. You just don't expect them to be in your circle.
The father of one of Erskine's alleged victims, speaking with Local 10, he says his daughter was once in that teacher's math class at South Plantation High. That teen claims Erskine sent her inappropriate text messages and photos like this one of himself in the nude.
My daughter was smart enough, thank God, to use her friend's phone to take pictures and videos of what he was sending her. And then finally, she had the courage to come to me and tell me what was going on.
That dad now furious that the once trusted teacher who taught both of his children allegedly tried to take advantage of his daughter.
I was going to do some bad things.
That dad is a jiu-jitsu sensei and contemplated taking matters into his own hands, but ultimately allowed investigators to build their case and ultimately track down the accused predator.
You're lucky because very bad things are going to happen to you.
So Erskine will eventually be extradited back here to Broward County to face those charges. We reached out to the Broward school system, and they say they terminated Erskine in August of 2024. We also reached out to that other school district where he was employed in Central Florida, and they tell us that he had only been working there for roughly a month, but he no longer is listed as an employee. Reporting live from Plantation tonight, Terrell Fournay, Local 10 News.
A man already registered as a sex offender in Alabama is behind bars tonight on new charges. Fort Payne police arrested this man, Joseph Holmes, this week for traveling to meet a child for a sex act, rape, and sodomy. Investigators say evidence shows he was talking to an underage victim and traveled to meet that child in Fort Payne multiple times. Holmes is already a registered sex offender from previous rape and sodomy charges. He's now being held on a $250,000 bond.
The Waco Police Department is investigating after a video began circulating on social media tonight showing the brutal beating of a 3-year-old child.
Waco PD reports a suspect is in custody after turning himself in.
This is a picture taken from that disturbing video, which we are choosing not to show on the air. It happened at the Legends Apartments on Corporation Parkway.
The Ring camera footage shows the man picking up a child and hitting him at least 5 times with a closed fist. The man then walks out of the camera's view with the child. Waco police tell us that the child was taken to the hospital to be checked out for any possible injuries.
Look at the Salvation Army Worship and Service Center, accused of sexually assaulting a child, has his plea changed. According to court documents, during an unrelated sexual assault interview, a child told police that Corlando Montgomery touched them. So Thursday, Montgomery changed his plea to no contest to attempted sexual assault of a child. He's sentenced immediately to 18 months in prison. He gets credit for 325 days served.
To the North Valley now, where a registered sex offender and parolee is back in jail tonight after a routine parole check-in. Madera County Sheriff's deputies were doing a regular compliance check-in at 41-year-old Tommy Aguilar's house today. That's where detectives found more than 600 images of child sex abuse material. All of his electronic devices were taken as part of that investigation.
A Springville man who was working as a nurse at Oshai Children's Hospital is facing child porn charges tonight that carry at least 5 years in prison and as much as 20. The U.S. Attorney's Office tells us multiple child porn images were traced back to 46-year-old Eric Heimdall Monson of Springville. A search of his house turned up nearly a dozen items, including a phone that had several videos containing minors on it. Oshai said in a statement he was immediately suspended when police notified them about an investigation, and he was fired today after he was arrested. He's being held until a hearing this Thursday.
New at 6, a local borough employee is off the job, but still getting a paycheck, accused of sexually assaulting a girl.
What do you have to say to the victim in this case? What about your family?
Scott Lafferty was arrested after the victim's brother found inappropriate messages on his sister's phone. He told his parents, which then led to the criminal investigation. Channel 11's Amy Hudak is in Baldwin, where she talked exclusively to the victim's mom.
Right outside of District Court here in Baldwin, the victim's mom tells us she believes Lafferty should be locked up, not out while he waits for this court process to proceed. And tonight the mom also says she believes he preyed on her specifically because she has an intellectual disability.
He was just a predator, and my daughter has a disability, and he fed off of that disability.
Scott Lafferty, with his wife by his side, kept his eyes straight ahead and didn't say a word. What do you have to say to the victim in this case? What about your family? Police charged Lafferty, a Baldwin Public Works employee, with numerous child sex crimes. According to police, the sexual assaults began in early June.
He assaulted her, a 60-year-old man, a minor.
Police say on Lafferty's phone were several hundred text messages that were sexually explicit, including, quote, multiple requests by Lafferty to see the victim nude, to delete the text messages between them, and to, quote, sneak out and engage in sexual intercourse with him. The victim's mom says her son found those messages and a naked photo of Lafferty and called police immediately. Baldwin Borough says Lafferty is on paid administrative leave from his public works job. But the victim's mom says is somebody who removed snow from their street and did work around town. She wants others to know about the crimes he's charged with. Lafferty's defense attorney did not have a comment leaving the courtroom. Lafferty will not be back in court until January. The victim's mom says the wheels of justice are turning slowly. Reporting in Baldwin Borough, Amy Hudak, Channel 11 News.
A Sherman man sentenced to 15 years in prison for sexual assault of a child. Sherman police arrested 47-year-old Carmelo Ramos in August of 2024 after he touched a young girl inappropriately.
It's a human problem. It's not going to stop anytime soon, but we are doing what we can to take care of protecting our streets by getting these people off the streets.
While detained, Ramos also received a U.S. Customs and Immigration holding request. Staff with the district attorney's office say that will result in his deportation.
Now to other developing news this afternoon in Madison.
A school teacher in the city has been accused of possessing child sex abuse materials. Our Eric Franke is here to tell us what he knows so far. Eric.
Well, Brady and Susan, 58-year-old David Fawcett is in police custody after an investigation by members of the Madison Police Department's Special Victims Unit, among other agencies here. The Madison School District confirming Fawcett is a teacher at Nuestro Mundo Community School and that he had been placed on administrative leave during this investigation. It stems from local law enforcement getting a referral from authorities in Texas that Fawcett was allegedly talking online with a minor in that state. Now, officers conducted a search warrant at a residence on South Brearley at Spate Street, just southwest of Orton Park. Fawcett has now been booked into the Dane County Jail on charges of possessing child pornography and also sexual exploitation. Now, right now, it is unclear what police found with that search warrant, but we'll continue following developments in this case right here, as well as on our website, channel3000.com, and on the Channel 3000 app. Brady, Susan. A teacher accused of sending sexually explicit messages to a Texas teen multiple times is being charged now with child sex crimes. David Fawcett charged with sexual exploitation of a child and 3 counts of possession of child pornography. Fawcett is a teacher at Nuestro Mundo Community School and was put on administrative leave after his arrest earlier in the week. According to a criminal complaint, Fawcett began messaging a 15-year-old girl in Texas in June using Snapchat. Texas police were tipped off about the alleged messages from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Investigators were able to match Fawcett, they say, to his Snapchat account using his IP address.
All new at 6 tonight, a former Adrian pastor will spend the next 10 to 15 years in prison. Michael.
In a First Alert now, a joint investigation between the Buncombe County Sheriff's Office and the Asheville Police Department ends in several child rape charges for a man. 29-year-old Juan Ramon Juarez Talamentes was arrested in November for 2 counts of statutory rape involving a child at least 13, 14, or 15 years old. Then, in January, he was charged with an additional count involving a 3rd victim. The cases go back to 2024.
When a child experiences trauma, they can be stripped of their ability to imagine. But imagination is colours. All the colours. Imagination is freedom and whatever you want it to be. But a child without imagination is not a child at all. Will you help defend our right to imagine?
He's 12 in a hoodie, head down in the back row seat. Teacher says he's difficult, he just learned not to trust what they preach. They said, speak up, we'll protect you. Then shrug, called it a mistake. Signed some papers, shook a hand, sent a monster home through the gate. Kids deserve better than broken excuses. Too late, too hard from the ones in control. You cage the survivor, let the predator wander, then blame the anger burning in their soul. Kids are our future, not casualties of comfort. Justice isn't tickets and gentle little risks. Put the danger in prison, not back in the playground. Stop giving the trauma a slap on the wrist. She's 15, she's hurting, but they label her out of line. Why you hate authority? Maybe cause it failed her every time. They call it treatment. Up